The Formula 1 2022 season is drawing to an end, and simultaneously there's not much to look forward to, yet a lot to look forward to. Sounds confusing? Well, it isn't really, because both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships have been wrapped up, yet at the other side, there are some nice little interesting subplots and juicy tidbits to keep an eye out on during what should be a pretty eventful race weekend at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, if you're wondering why exactly that's the case, well, that's exactly why we're here with you guys, because we can actually talk you through what it is that you should keep an eye out on if you're not a fan of, say, Verstappen or Red Bull and looking forward to their dominating season coming to an end with a race win. But, of course, we have to start by talking about the current World Drivers and World Constructors Championships. Now, Red Bull currently have won, of course, the World Drivers Championship courtesy of this man, Max Verstappen. They have also won the Constructors' Championship, but there is still one small little milestone that the team is chasing. What is that milestone? They have till this date in their history never actually had a 1-2 finish in the World Drivers' Championship, and as things stand, that's currently on the cards. Perez is equal with Charles Leclerc on points and would just need to finish ahead of him to ensure that that 1-2 does indeed happen. It'll be the first time Red Bull ever get that sort of a finish. So obviously they will be focused on that, but there is a lot of drama and tension in the team. Why? Well, you have to go back to the incidents of last weekend's Brazil Grand Prix, where Verstappen point blank refused to give up a place to Perez, saying that he had his reasons and that he should never be asked to do that again. Obviously, that has led to a slew of stories through the weekend that, the Monaco Grand Prix crash where Perez had actually ended up crashing out is the reason why Verstappen was not happy. And there's been plenty going on. Red Bull, for their part, have said that, look, the drivers have resolved it between themselves and that this should be the end of the matter. So, as I said, lots going on there. The real question is, will Verstappen actually be true to his word and help Perez out after all? I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I guess that's also one of the things that just makes this battle a little bit more exciting, because really you don't quite know what exactly is going to happen. I mean, it's quite possible that you could have an anticlimactic ending where Perez maybe ends up crashing out on the first lap, which means Leclerc takes second place anyway, just out of default, because even if Leclerc doesn't get a point, he finishes ahead of Perez due to countback having more race wins. So that's the key thing to keep an eye out for, at least when it comes to the top team of this year, Red Bull. Mercedes finally got that all-elusive race win at Brazil, but it was not Lewis Hamilton who got the win. It was, in fact, George Russell. That being said, the team didn't care too much as long as they got that all-important race win to ensure that their streak of winning at least one race per season since the 2012 calendar year carries on. However, there is still something left for them to fight for in this particular season. That is second place in the Constructors' Championship. Now, it's not just a matter of pride that the team wants to finish higher in the standings. Simple fact is, the higher you finish in the Constructors' Championship, the more prize money it is that you get from the FIA. So Mercedes would be keen to ensure that they can actually get that second place, get that additional prize money, and actually, in theory at least, bolster their chances of making a better car, one that could be consistently competing for race wins come the 23 season, And also, it is worth remembering that Red Bull will be having a limitation on their aero testing time that they will have to be serving out due to the fact that they were found in breach of the 2021 cap. So any position higher that Mercedes can finish would actually be a benefit to them, because, well, quite frankly, they do see a chance, they do smell a little bit of that blood in the water, but it won't be that easy either, or will it? Because the Ferraris have quite frankly looked off the pace throughout the second half of the year. Most will say that this is because there was a technical directive of, regarding the flexi flows that actually ended up hamstringing the side. Others will say that they lost interest in this season once they were absolutely thumped in the Belgian Grand Prix, and it is true in one sense because they've really not been developing their car anymore this year. As a result, they've actually fallen behind the pace and are currently at least on pace in recent times the third fastest team behind Mercedes. Mercedes, on the other hand, have found some pace, and it will be very fascinating to see which of these teams can actually emerge on top in that battle for second place in the Constructors' Championship. But as things stand, it does seem like the Ferraris are at a bit of a disadvantage. The first two practice sessions saw the Mercedes actually being much closer to the Red Bulls than the Ferraris were. In fact, Mercedes cars were significantly faster than the Ferraris. So unless something major changes come quali and race day, it does seem likely that the Mercedes could well finish ahead. But remember, the gap is still about 24 points. So they really will need some luck going their way. And it's luck that the Scuderia boys may just deny them. Now, this is unfortunately a race weekend that for many fans will be a sad one, or one that will be memorable, because this man right here, Sebastian Vettel, 57-time race winner, 4-time world champion, is calling it a day on his career. Now, I remember when Vettel first made his debut all those years back, most people saw him as the natural successor to a certain Michael Schumacher. And to be fair, he's very much made his mark on the sport, although he couldn't quite be the one who matched or broke Schumacher's record. That honor fell to Lewis Hamilton. But the simple fact is, it's going to be a weekend to celebrate a man who has meant so much to Formula One, and someone who, for the most part in recent times, has actually become one of the most beloved drivers in this paddock and among the fan base, despite at one point being one of the most hated ones. So is there some sort of an interesting fairy tale finish for Seb? Maybe not a race win, but maybe a good points finish after running through the field, or maybe even a podium spot? We don't really know, but it would be a very fitting end, and it would be a great way to bring his 299th and so far at least final race start to a very good end. It would be nothing less than what this man here deserved. Now, the last talking point doesn't quite actually involve the race. It involves the day after the race. Why do I say that? Well, because as you know, this time around, Formula One's midfield has gone through a lot of changes. In fact, if you look at every team who are positioned from 4th to 10th in the Constructors' Championships, barring Alfa Romeo, pretty much every team has made one driver change for the following year. Now, you remember that McLaren will be replacing Daniel Ricciardo with Oscar Piastri, and Renault or Alpine will be replacing Fernando Alonso with Pierre Gasly. Why would they need to replace Alonso? Well, because Alonso will be heading off to Aston Martin, but that's not the only major driver changes that are happening. Remember, because Gasly is leaving AlphaTauri, they also have an opening, and they've signed current Mercedes reserve driver Nick De Vries to fill that spot. But as I said, they aren't the only major team, the only midfield team making big moves. Nico Hülkenberg will be making a return to the paddock next year onwards full time when he joins Haas. And Logan Sargent, who's of course a Williams junior driver, will most likely be getting that Williams seat should he of course get enough super license points to qualify for an F1 drive next year. And currently, if he finishes where he is in the F2 championships, he will be getting those number of points. Why exactly is this important? Well, because the day after the final race at Abu Dhabi, you generally will see all these drivers who are joining new teams link up with their new teams and actually test out the tires for the 2023 season. So it'll actually in many ways be the first time that you're going to see all these new drivers in their new teams and in that sort of a setting. So it's always an exciting time. It's always fun to watch out for. And considering the fact that this is the end of the F1 season, really truth be told, F1 fans will cling to any kind of content it is they can get about their favorite drivers. So I definitely want to keep an eye out on this as well. And that's it for this particular version of the F1 preview. I know it will be one of the last ones that we do, of course, this time around, but it's been real fun joining you guys and talking all things Formula One through the season pretty much and through my time that I've been here at Sports Today. So thank you all once again for joining us. As always, shower your love by liking this video, sharing with your friends, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and also tap that bell icon and then go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to join us live for our post-race analysis and post-qualifying analysis, which will be, of course, later today and, of course, later tomorrow when the race ends. And, of course, stay tuned for more such F1-related content to come even during the off-season or the down-season time. Thank you all once again for joining us. I hope to see you with us on Sports Today through the day, but for now, goodbye.